and Durkheim talks about collective consciousness. What's the difference, Greg?
Ideology is being controlled by the ruling class, or they're controlled by the intellectuals, and that's the reproduction, and collective consciousness everywhere, assuming equally important.
Yes, interesting, Matthew.
I think Gramsci might say that...
Gramsci, you're allowed to use that man's name. Very good, Gramsci.
I think Gramsci might say that the collective consciousness appears to be common to everybody, but it's really treated by individual individuals, but themselves
who present the interests of the dominant class as the interests of all. That's an interest. Oh, Jessica likes that idea. Yes, the question is what some would call the collective consciousness really the ideology of the dominant class, in which the dominant class presents its interests as the interests of all? Is the idea of democracy, American democracy, or freedom, or liberty, are these ideas that indeed we all share? Or is it an ideology generated by the dominant class and presented as in the interest of all, as presented as something we all share? An interesting question that you should think about. Indeed, you'll have to think about for the midterm. Very good, very good, very good, very good, very good. Yes. Now look, let's be Durkheimians for the time being. So, there is a collective consciousness, collective sentiments that we all share in society. And so if you look at page 38, 39, what we just read, we want to know, where would you find such a collective consciousness? If you wanted to look for it, where might you look for it? Where might you find that collective consciousness? Where might you find it instantiated, it written down? Well, you might find it in the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence, as I say, in some of these inaugural addresses. These are sort of representations of what we all share, those of us who live in the United States of America. Yes. Now, what is a crime? A crime is a violation, is an offense against this common consciousness. It's an offense against this common consciousness. It's a violation of this common consciousness. Yes. So what does he say on page 40? He says exactly that. From the top of page 40, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 17 lines down on page 40. Who would like to read this out? Have I a volunteer? Hannah, I haven't heard from you for ages. Oh, your book's not out. Oh, has everybody got their book out? Sasha. It is Sasha, right? Yeah. Why don't you read it out while Hannah is excavating and digging around for her copy? Page 40, the line. Oh, I've forgotten what line it was. What did I say? 16, one word in from the right. In. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. In other words.
We should not say that an act shows the common consciousness.
No. This is really much too quick. Loud and clear. It's so important. Take a deep breath. Yep, now.
In other words, we should not say that an act offends the common consciousness because it is criminal.
We should not say that an act offends the common consciousness because it's criminal. There's nothing inherent about the criminal act, but
that it's criminal because it offends that consciousness.
It is criminal because it offends the common consciousness. Go on.
We do not condemn it because it is a crime.
We do not condemn it because it is a crime.
But it is a crime because we condemn it.
But it is a crime because we condemn it. Underline it. What is Durkheim saying here? He's saying, look, there's nothing inherent about an act. Killing somebody is not inherently criminal. It is only criminal because we believe in the sanctity of human life. This is our common consciousness. So what is a crime? What is a crime in one society? Maybe something celebrated in another, depending upon the what? The common consciousness. The common consciousness. So we talked a little bit last time, certain societies, killing people is actually not always a crime. In this society, when individuals kill one another, it usually is a crime. When the state does it, sometimes it is a crime and sometimes it's not. Alright, interesting. There's another perhaps more interesting case. The veil. In some societies, in Iran, every woman has to go out, when goes out in public, puts on a veil. Right? And if you do not put on a veil, you are punished. There are the moral police are out there looking for women without the veil. That is a crime. To not wear a veil. Bless you. In France, if you wear a veil in school, you are punished. You're not allowed to wear a veil in school. Because in France, it violates what? It violates the separation of church and state. It violates the idea of secular education. You should not confuse religion and education. Whereas in Iran, which is a more, you might say, theocratic state, there you have to wear a veil. The point is that different societies see the same act through a different lens. Yeah. Interesting question, isn't it? Interesting question. It's an interesting question. Has anybody been to Iran here? Very good, very good. Well, from your observations of the streets of Tehran, Alex and Arman, would you say that in fact the idea of wearing a veil is a sentiment shared by the population? What would you say, Aman?
I think in general most of the citizens are don't support it.
Most of the citizens, well, at least the middle-class citizens, do not support the idea of most women. So what do they do? What do they do? Have you noticed how they wear the veil? Yeah.
Well, there's different styles. I mean, this is one style.
Hannah's is one style.
And the other is more, it's almost half skull.
That's right, and there are some ways of way off, and sometimes almost invisible. So that's a sort of a protest. So in a sense, of course we're living in a society around us, an advanced society with advanced division of labour, and where of course mechanical solidarity or collective sentiments are probably not as strong as they would be in a small scale society. But it's difficult to tell whether in fact in that society that is part of the collective sentiments, or this is something foisted on the people by the ruling class. It's an interesting question. I didn't say, but Aman say that in fact it's resisted by women. And in France, what's the story? Does everybody participate, Does everybody like the idea of not wearing a veil in school? Listening, Casey? Yep.
I just remember the stories.
There are many stories, and of course there's a lot of struggle. In fact, many Muslim women in France do insist on wearing a veil, perhaps not in school because they would indeed be punished, but outside school. So again, it's not clear it's part of the common consciousness. It's an interesting question. Always an interesting question. But anyway, you still see even here how different societies have different rules. Yes, Juliana?
I was reading an article that increasingly Muslim girls in France are going to Catholic schools or other pro-Jewish schools where they can wear them.
So what's one way of avoiding it? Not go to state schools, but go to private Catholic schools. Yes. So anyway, it's an interesting question. What is and what is not part of the collective consciousness? Always an interesting question. But anyway, the point is that I'd like to make, from the Durkheim perspective, different societies have different rules, and therefore a same act can be criminal in one society and not in another. Okay. Very good. Headscarves. Right. Also, here we are. So now we know what a crime is. A crime is it's nothing inherent in the act. It's an offence against the common sentiments we all share. So now the question is this. What is the function? What is the function? What is the purpose? What is the function? What is the purpose of punishment? Why do we punish? Now it gets interesting. Why do we punish people? If they commit a crime, if they make an offence against the collective consciousness, if they plagiarize, why do we punish them? Yes, Sonny.
Use a defense mechanism and also for vengeance.
A defense mechanism or vengeance?
On page 44 and 46.
Oh, very good. Even better. 44 and 46. And then I have to pay attention.
I feel like you're unbelieving me.
Very good. Yes, all right. Yes. 44 and 46. Where would you want me to read? Or where do you find this? The first line, section 2.
Section 2, the last paragraph on page.
Nowadays, however, it is said that punishment has changed in nature. It is said, we'd be worried if somebody says, it is said, it is said. Let me continue. Society no longer punishes to avenge, but to defend itself. In its hands, the pain it inflicts is only a systematic instrument for its protection. Society punishes not because the punishment of itself affords some satisfaction, but in order that the fear of punishment may give pause to the evilly inclined. It is to deter. That's what Durkheim is saying there. But that is not Durkheim's view. That is not his view. That is somebody else's view. He's saying here, the fear of punishment. That is why we think we punish people. I punish Matthew, telling me he shouldn't mention Hegel, and I punish him to deter him so he won't ever do it again. That is the deterrence view, but that is not Durkheim's view. That is not Durkheim's view. Durkheim's view is what? Durkheim's view is, why do we punish people? Why do we punish people, Juliana?
On the bottom of page 62.
On the bottom of page 62, hold on.
In the last paragraph.
Yeah.
It first it's the...
Alright, why don't you read it out? It's the third line from the bottom, 3 words from the right. It does, okay.
It does not serve.
That's punishment, right?
Yeah, punishment does not serve, or serve only very intensely, to correct the guilty person, or to scare off any possible imitators.
Okay, so punishment is only marginally important in deterring people. Yep.
From this dual viewpoint, its effectiveness may rightly be questioned.
It's not very effective. Punishment, if it's going to be, when it deters people, it's not going to be very effective because people seem to continue to commit crimes. Very good, Juliana.
Its real function...
Its real function, listen, all ears now, Sonny.
...is to maintain and violate the cohesion of society by sustaining the common consciousness in all its victims.
Yes. Read that out again.
Its real function...
Its real function...
...is to maintain and violate...
It is to maintain inviolate...
...the cohesion of society...
The cohesion of society...
...by sustaining the common consciousness in all its vigor.
By sustaining the common consciousness in all its vigor. So what does that mean? When I attack Matthew for invoking Hegel's name, what am I doing? What am I doing? What am I doing? Simeon, what am I doing?
You're serving the common consciousness.
Serving? But hey, how am I serving it? What common consciousness? Whose is common consciousness?
Well, it's a society.
It's society. It's not the whole society. It's whom? It's sociology people in this class. See, what I do is I pick on Simeon, yeah? I pick on Matthew, or I pick on Simeon, or I pick on Conrad, right? He loves to be picked on. But I don't do it. I don't care about Matthew, Simeon, and Conrad. I care about all of you. I care about all of you. When I say to Kristen, you better bring your book. Why didn't you bring your book? Why didn't you stand up here and show me that you haven't brought your book? I am punishing, humiliating Christy. So I don't care about Christy. That's neither here nor there. I am trying to tell all of you, to remind all of you of what you should do. I am instilling a common consciousness in all of you. The point of punishment is to repair what is violated, the common consciousness of all of you. I am reminding you of the rules of this classroom. Yes, Sasha?
Well, isn't restitutive law supposed to create order? It's not the same thing as reminding you of order.
Yes. Well, repressive law reminds us of the common sentiments that we all have, the common values, the common rules, the common norms. So when we publicly execute somebody for murder, we remind everybody that thou shalt not murder. It's to instill that in everybody's collective consciousness. Right? Now, with restitutive law, the point is not to remind everybody's or repair the collective consciousness, but to repair a specific relationship that has been broken. The relationship between husband and wife. The relationship between buyer and seller. Particular buyer and a particular seller. A particular capitalist and a particular worker. To repair a specific relationship associated with the division of labor. Okay? So it's very different. Very different. Now, okay. So, Durkheim says, for example, on page 63, if you look down the page, whoa, where am I? It's about the middle. It's a terrible, these paragraphs are enormous. How can I do this? Alright, from the middle, just below the middle of the page, it's from the bottom of the page, how many lines? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 17, 18 lines from the bottom. Now, Preeter, you there? You've not got your book either, you see? What am I doing? I don't care about them. But I'm telling everybody they better bring their books. Okay. Now, Preeter, what did you read? Without this necessary act. Elizabeth, you really are not with it today. I need to repair the collective consciousness many times, I can see that. Isn't that true, Vijay, yeah? Yes, you would always bring your book, right? Very good. Yes, okay. Without
this necessary act of satisfaction, what is called the moral consciousness cannot be preserved. Thus, without being paradoxical, we may say that punishment is above all intended to have its effect upon honest people. Since it serves to heal the wounds inflicted upon the collective sentiment, it can only fulfill its role where such sentiments exist, and insofar as they are active.
Right, very good. So it acts on the honest people, acts on everybody's collective conscience, not on the person who committed the crime. The person who committed the crime is just used as a vehicle for telling everybody what it is that we all share. That was very well read, now please. I'm going to call on you many times, so you probably should bring your book. I'm just reminding everybody they should bring in their books, right? Yes, okay. That is it. Okay, this is the idea. What's the function and purpose of punishment? It is to repair the collective consciousness that is present in all people. In all people, yes. Last.
So what about crimes that most people don't think is bad?
Sorry?
Say, for example, downloading music or things like most people think it's okay.
Yes, well the question is whether downloading music is a violation of a restitutive law, commercial law, in which case it's nothing to do with the collective consciousness, or whether it is in some way a violation of the collective consciousness. Now, probably it will be more a violation of restitutive law, and therefore the punishment is of a different character, or not that the sanction is of a different character. It's not so much punitive. But usually violations of all laws have both a repressive and a restitutive moment. It's a matter of which is the more important. But, there's something, that your collective consciousness is something like this, and it's very dense and passionate at the center, and it gets weaker and weaker as you go to the periphery. And so, obviously, the center is things like murder, stealing. Now that, you might regard that as a form of stealing, yeah. Anyway, yes. I don't know. I think downloading. That's really at the margins. Downloading, yes. Yes, Naprit?
If one person kills versus one person stealing, it doesn't mean the person stealing is worse off, but they're both inclined to do the act once again. So it's like, what about the different degrees of punishment?
Yes, we're going to talk about that in a second. One second. We're going to talk about the degrees of punishment. 1 second. Depends on actually the crime, which is, in a sense, response to last. Some crimes somehow offend more central aspects of the collective consciousness and therefore punish more severely. And some are out here and they're punished much less severely. So yes, we got hands up. Yes, Juliana.
I know he says it's paradoxical about this idea of effect on honest people, but isn't it, what happens then to the criminal if the penal law is supposed to remind honest people, then what's his idea about that criminal in society and how they fit in?
Well, he doesn't really care about the criminal. In fact, one of the funny things is about Durkheim, if we're thinking about a society, not our society, but a society characterized by mechanical solidarity, in fact, he seems to be saying that we need criminals. Ha-ha! Why do we need criminals? Hands up. Why do we need criminals, Aman? It's a vehicle through which, because criminals allow us to punish people, and in punishing people we reaffirm the collective consciousness. So perhaps, so there's a real paradoxical. So crime is necessary for a society of purely mechanical solidarity. Yeah.